Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to go over how to do tessellation in Unreal Engine. Now tessellation is a great way to add depth to your scene and detail in case you're wanting to make some sort of cinematic shot or it's a really detailed important part of your scene. Now I wouldn't recommend overusing tessellation because it can be very performance intensive. We'll go over later on in the course how to make it more performance friendly. But for now, here's how to do it just in Unreal with no external tools. First of all, add in a plane or some sort of object that you want to tessellate and add a material into it. Now I'm using a Thai beach sand from Megascans. Now here's what you're going to do. You're going to double click on the material itself and then you're going to go down under material settings. There's two of these checkboxes here that say enable tessellation and enable subdivision. Check both of those and then check the boxes next to those. That will enable tessellation and subdivision. Now, what's going to immediately happen is nothing at first because we have to edit these values of it. So what it's going to be doing is taking the high points and low points of this texture based on this displacement texture right here, and it's going to try and raise the high points and lower the low points. And it's going to subdivide the geometry so that we can achieve that. So if you want it to be subdivided more, you're going to use the displacement modifier, and if you want the effect to be more extreme, you're going to change the displacement offset. That's the one I'm going to start with. I'm going to crank it all the way up to 100. And as you can see, if I move this out of the way, we're seeing a little bit of displacement here. Now this is real geometry displacement. If I go under wireframe view, I can see that there is indeed geometry added to this object. It's not just faked. So if I want to make it more detailed, I'm going to increase the displacement multiplier. So I could bring this to something like 50, and then if I go into wireframe mode, you can see that there are now many more vertices than there just were. So I'm going to go back and see what kind of effect that creates. And as you can see, it makes it more realistic because in real life there is actual depth to objects, not just faked depth, which you will get from a normal or roughness map. So if you really want this to be a cinematic shot, you could increase this even further, maybe even offset further. And eventually you're going to get really high levels of detail, but it's going to take a significant performance hit. So I definitely would not recommend doing any kind of multiplier this high in an actual game, a real-time situation, because as you can see it's getting to be quite heavy on the performance. But we will go over in the Blender section how we can pre-apply this tessellation so that it doesn't have to compute that while it's real time, and therefore you will save performance. But this is an easy way to enable tessellation very fast if you want to preview how the function works, and it's really cool. And so I would suggest just mess around with this, try it out a few times. It's a really cool effect. And I'll see you in the next section where we're going to procedurally generate entire worlds.